Hey guys, today's video is about the first four parts of a story about a guy who was reincarnated and managed to win the heart of the most famous goddess in school. Let's get started and binge watch this anime series. Our story begins with our protagonist, a cab driver driving back home after a long day of work with no customers. He's looking forward to some much-needed rest when suddenly a beautiful woman steps in front of his car, stopping him in his tracks. He hesitates, unsure of what to do, but she demands to be taken somewhere immediately. As she gets into the cab, she insists that she doesn't need to book it through the app, telling him to shut up and just drive. He reluctantly complies, even driving through a red light at her urging. But then things take a strange turn. She asks for his phone, and when he hesitates, she becomes aggressive and demands it. He hands it over, confused and frightened. She quickly makes a call to the police, claiming to be a 10th grader named Layame and telling them that her friend has been kidnapped by some dangerous people and is being held somewhere near an old factory. After the call, the cab driver yells at her, accusing her of using him to get closer to the location of the pond. She apologizes and tells him that her sister is the one who's been kidnapped and that she sent out an SOS signal to get help. He feels bad for being so harsh and agrees to help her find her sister. They eventually arrive at a club where her sister's location is supposedly tracked. Before they part ways, the cab driver expresses concern for her safety, but she insists that she'll be fine. Just as he's about to leave, another woman approaches him, offering some good time. He politely declines, telling her he's not interested in old girls. The woman responds by telling him that if he comes back the next day, he can taste some new girls. Meanwhile, Leah May manages to locate her sister, who is tied to a chair and unable to move. She approaches her and helps her escape, but as they're trying to make their way out, they're confronted by a group of goons. The goons are excited to see them, commenting on how good it is to have another girl to play with. Leah May quickly realizes that it's a trap and starts to run away in fear. Just as things are starting to look bleak, the cab driver comes to the rescue, pretending that one of his customers left something in the cab. He uses his strength to intimidate the goons, giving Leah May and her sister a chance to escape. Leah May was shocked when she saw our protagonist back there. "It's dangerous here," she warned him. Before they could go any further, a group of goons appeared out of nowhere. They taunted and they attacked him. To Leah May's surprise, the man was agile and skilled, moving with the grace and speed of Spider-Man. In a matter of seconds, he took down most of the attackers. The boss of the goons demanded to know why the man was interfering with their business. The goons didn't take kindly to his humor and resumed attacking him. The man fought back fiercely, using a nearby bunker as a weapon. When the boss pulled out a gun and threatened Leah May's sister, the man accepted the challenge of a knife fight. With a flick of his wrist, he threw the knife so quickly and accurately that the boss lost the bet and the man emerged victorious. Leah May and her sister were amazed by the man's bravery and skill. Just then, the police arrived and took the goons away. Leah May's family came to the scene, and they all embraced. However, the police also detained the man, mistaking him for a suspect. As they were about to take him away, the boss of the goons returned and asked to speak to him. To everyone's surprise, the boss was intimidated by the man and offered him a smoke instead of attacking him. The man then revealed that he was just a regular cab driver and was allowed to go home. Later, the man received a message from Zijin High School where he had just been admitted. When he arrived at the school, the teacher announced him as a new student. All the girls in the class were smitten with his handsome appearance, including Leah May and her sister Wu, who were surprised to see him there. It was a typical day in the classroom, and the boys were up to their usual shenanigans. They were jealous of Lu and wanted to embarrass him in front of the class. But little did they know, Lu was a smart cookie, and he wasn't going to let them get the better of him. As he walked towards them, the boys thought they could trip him up and make him fall. But Lu had other plans. He put his foot over the bully's foot, and the boys were left red-faced and embarrassed. Lu went and sat beside a guy named Tang, who appreciated him and admired his bravery. Tang thought it was great that Lu dared to provoke the bully Liao. Liao was a rich dude who thought he could get away with anything, including hindering college money. Later that class, Liao came to Lu and demanded that he pay $2,000 in protection fees. The other kids were snickering and gossiping about who would be next to pay the fees. Tang asked why Lu had to pay twice the amount, and Liao replied that it was because he had placed his foot over his. Just then, two sisters came and asked Leo to stop bullying Lu. But Leo replied, "How did these two girls out of nowhere start helping others?" That's when Lu stepped in and asked the bullies to stop and start studying. He reminded them that knowledge is the best thing one could have, and that he was working hard to pass Jiang University and make his parents proud. The bullies just laughed at him and said that he would never graduate. But Lu wasn't going to let them get the best of him. He smashed his book over their faces and told them that knowledge is power. The girls were shocked that Lu had stood up to the bullies and handled the situation so well. They watched as he confidently told the bullies to hand over all the protection fees to him after school. Just then, their English teacher, Junie, walked into the class. She saw the three of them together and asked what they were doing. Thinking that Lu was a new student, she introduced herself and said that she was going to revise their prepositions. But Lu thought the class was boring and started sleeping in her class. Junie got angry and hit him with the desk, asking why he was sleeping. The other girls were shocked that he wasn't responding, but when Lu woke up, he pretended like he didn't know what had just happened. He told Junie that he was tired because he had been studying all night. Junie asked him to leave the class, and Lu made a joke about it. Junie got angry and asked him some questions, but Lu surprised her with his excellent English skills. After that, she left him alone and told him to make more effort in class next time. We could see that the teacher was somewhere in the Lu corner. As she was speaking, Liao spoke up and called out the teacher for being unfair and letting Lu sleep in her class. The teacher immediately flew into a rage, demanding to know who dared to question her authority. "You, Liao," she shouted, pointing a finger at him. "Get out of my classroom." As the class ended, Tang, another student, excitedly told Lu about the upcoming visit from the Sky League people. Tang was so eager to leave the room and meet them that he was practically bouncing off the walls. But just as he was about to head out, the Sky League boss strode in, looking furious. "Lu," he said, "how dare you extort my newbies?" Lu, never one to back down from a challenge, simply smirked and made a crack about the boss's height. The boss's face turned red with anger. "You'll regret saying that," he shouted. The boss's henchmen closed in on Tang, threatening to hurt him. But Lu was having none of it. With lightning-fast reflexes, he grabbed the boss by the neck and lifted him off the ground. "You want to repeat that, tough guy?" Lu said, his eyes flashing with savageness. The boss's men were in fear, unsure of what to do. Sensing his moment, Tang stepped forward and bravely stood up to the bullies, smacking the boss across the face. Lu then made sure that everyone in the room knew that Tang was not to be bullied ever. With the situation diffused, Lu turned his attention to the boss's stolen money. He demanded that the money be returned to its rightful owners, but the boss refused. Angered, Lu grabbed the boss and hurled him out the window. Chaos erupted as the students realized what had happened. Shouts and screams echoed through the halls as people raced to see what was going on. Later, Tang begged Lu to let him come with him, but Lu reassured him that the boss was still alive, though he was now stuck in a smelly dumpster. As Lu was leaving the college, he was approached by two men in black suits. They had been waiting for him, and one of them invited him into a car. Lu, always quick with a joke, pretended not to know who they were until they introduced themselves to Mr. Zheng, a wealthy entrepreneur. Lu couldn't help but joke that he might be willing to work for a millionaire, but he wasn't that greedy. Then the conversation took a serious turn as Mr. Zheng asked why Lu was getting closer to his daughter. Lu tried to play it off as a coincidence, but Mr. Zheng was suspicious. Lu, always quick on his feet, suggested that maybe it was destiny and that they should consider a marriage between their families. Mr. Zheng was not amused, but Lu kept up his jokes, refusing to admit to something he hadn't done. Suddenly, a truck smashed into the car, sending it careening off the road. The crash was so sudden that no one knew when it happened at first. But Lu quickly realized that someone was after Mr. Zheng's life. He helped the man out of the car, and they both managed to escape unharmed. But Mr. Zheng was shaken, realizing that he had underestimated the danger he was in. As Lu walked home, he mused that being a good guy was tough, especially when there were misunderstandings. But Mr. Zheng's decision to increase his daughter's security was a sign that they were all in this together, and that they would do whatever it took to stay safe. In the next scene, Lu is in the street stalls reading the menu of the shop. He's thinking about how expensive the food is and how he can only afford to pay for his tuition fees and not meals. He orders one bowl of egg noodles and is lost in thought about his financial situation. Just then, a group of guys throw their food over the street and start screaming about a cockroach in their food. When the waitress approaches them, she realizes there are some gangsters claiming that the cockroaches are not real. They demand $20,000 as compensation and say they can negotiate to $10,000 if she can serve them for the night. She knows it's all fake and tells them she will call the police. They break the table and start shouting, revealing that they are from the Black Fox gang, causing people around to get scared. One of them gets closer to the waitress and asks her to give them the money. Suddenly, Lu comes from the back and asks the guy if he could vomit after having the soup with a cockroach. This makes the gangsters angry, and they challenge him to make him vomit. Lu throws a rock over the bully's face and then punches him in his stomach, making him vomit for real. This makes all the public shocked, and the other bully pulls the chair and throws it over Lu. Lu kicks a glass bottle near him over his face, and he falls along with his other bully buddy over his vomit. Lu gets over them and asks them to have a taste of their own vomit. Both of them ran away after it. The waitress then gets closer to Lu and tells him that if he was not there, it would be so difficult to deal with him, and she doesn't know how to thank him. She tells Lu that his meal is on her and also gives him some money and asks him to buy something out of it. But Lu does not accept it, saying he does not need protection money like others. He tells her he needs to find a room for rent or needs to sleep on the streets tonight. She then happily tells him that she has a room for rent and just today, some girl left it and she can arrange the house for him. Lu enters the house and it is super big and luxurious. The waitress, whose name is Lan, tells him that he does not need to pay right now, he can pay tomorrow. Lu is exhausted and decides to take a shower, but downstairs, a girl from her party enters the house. She is not feeling great about herself from the party and decides to take a shower as well. Just when she opens the door, she sees Lu having his bath. Lu sees it is none other than her English teacher, Junie. They are both super shocked and suddenly close the door. Junie then calls Lan and asks her to come to the house. Lan does not know that Junie hasn't left yet, and there is confusion. After all this, Lu and Junie sit in the same room and Lu apologizes for all this. He says he didn't know about all this and should leave and he won't tell anyone. But she says, wait a second. Just then, Lu gets over her feet, begging her that she knows that she would not kick him out and make him homeless. She lets him stay. Junie then asks Lu that he needs to promise her something if he wants to stay inside the house, and in her mind, she thinks she needs to make Lu pay for it. Junie had always struggled with public speaking, but with the upcoming English speech competition, she knew it was time to overcome her fear. That's why she turned to her cousin Lu, who was known for his excellent communication skills. However, when Junie approached Lu with her request, he was taken aback. As a jokester, he thought she was going to ask him for a massage or something else equally ridiculous. But when he realized that Junie was serious about her request, he was more than happy to help her. But there was a catch. Junie only had 1 month to prepare for the competition, and Lu knew it would be a challenge to get her up to speed in such a short time. Despite his initial doubts, Lu was determined to help Junie succeed. As they discussed their plan of action, the question of what to tell others about their relationship came up. Junie didn't want anyone to get the wrong idea, especially since Lu was known for being a ladies' man. They decided to tell their friend Lan that they were cousins to avoid any confusion. When Lan found out about their predicament, she felt bad for her assumptions and decided to treat them both to dinner the next day. Lu was secretly thrilled at the thought of free food, knowing that Junie thought he was shameless. Huang stumbled into his big brother's room, bruised and battered from the beating he had just received from Tang and his cronies. His brother was shocked at the extent of the injuries and promised Huang that he would handle the situation. Huang knew he could count on his big brother to protect him. The next day at school, Liu Mei and her sister Wu were trying to convince each other to invite Lu to their upcoming birthday party. They had been eyeing him for a while, but were too shy to approach him. Finally, they mustered up the courage and decided to invite him. To their surprise, Lu accepted the invitation and even thanked them for inviting him. Liu Mei was thrilled to hear that even her dad wanted to thank Lu personally. The news spread like wildfire throughout the school, and everyone was shocked that the hottest girl in the school had personally invited Lu. Just after this, a guy approached him and informed him that Mr. Huang was waiting for him in his office and Tang was already there. Lu was puzzled as to why Mr. Huang would want to see him and what role Tang played in all of this. When Lu entered the cabin, he saw Tang standing in the corner like a monkey due to punishment. Mr. Huang then handed Lu a punishment file and asked him to write a 5,000-word self-criticism and apologize to his classmate, Huang. Lu was confused and asked Mr. Huang if there was any connection between his classmate and Mr. Huang. However, Mr. Huang abruptly stopped him, accusing Lu of throwing Huang into the trash can and claiming that if it wasn't for his uncle Zheng Haitian, Lu would have been in jail. Lu was taken aback by Mr. Huang's accusations, questioning whether Zheng was really his uncle. He realized that Mr. Huang had misunderstood his relationship with Zheng. As Lu and Tang left the cabin, they were both lost in thought about what had just happened. They were unsure what would happen next and how they could clear Lu's name. In the following scene, Lu Feng approaches Tang and inquires about his issues with the Huangs. Tang's response is that he has a significant problem with them. Upon hearing this, Lu questions Tang about whether the Huangs are as powerful as Zheng. Tang dismisses this possibility and asserts that the Huangs are nothing in comparison to Zheng. Satisfied with Tang's response, Lu gives him a mysterious smile when Tang asks if Zheng is indeed his uncle. The bullies, upon witnessing that Lu and Tang are unharmed, become infuriated and decide to inform their boss. After school is over, Tang invites Lu to his house to cook for him, and since Lu loves free food, he agrees. As they walk, they are abruptly stopped by Boss Huang, who is a massive man accompanied by his right-hand man, Ma Zhen. Tang becomes enraged upon seeing them and shares that his mother died due to their persecution, and then broke his father's leg. Upon hearing Tang's account, the boss begins to laugh, which only serves to make Tang even more furious. As Tang advances towards him, Lu stops him and requests that he come closer. In the background, the bullies are shouting various threats and obscenities at them. Infuriated by the boss's laughter, Lu grabs him by the throat and demands, "What did you say? I can't hear you clearly." As their boss was being choked to death like a dog, all of the gang members except Meizhen rushed towards Lu, intending to beat him. However, their efforts proved futile, as they were unable to harm him even after attempting to hit him with a bat. Meizhen, impressed by Lu's ability to take down the gang single-handedly, decides not to let him get away. He boasts of his power, claiming that his punch is the fastest and the best, and rushes towards Lu to punch him. However, just as his fist is about to connect with Lu's face, it suddenly stops. It turns out that Lu has kicked Meizhen in the groin, leaving the great man writhing in pain on the ground. Seeing their boss humiliated in such a manner terrifies the other gang members, and Lu taunts them with a mocking voice, telling Meizhen that he is not the world's best balls. Lu then proceeds to further insult the gang by suggesting that they change their name to Black Kitten instead of Black Fox Gang. Meizhen, feeling insulted, pulls out a knife and moves to stab Lu. But before he can make contact, Lu bangs Meizhen's head with the boss's head, whom he is still holding by the neck. Lu then takes the knife and decides to display his artistic skills on Meizhen, who is left shocked and embarrassed, with his tattered clothes and purple heart underwear on display. Lu then threatens the gang and orders them never to cross his path again, promising to destroy them if they do. Not bothered by the incident, Lu grabs Tang by the shoulder and they happily proceed to Tang's house. As they entered Tang's house, Lu was hit with a strong smell of alcohol but was surprised to see a spotless home. He saw a man slumped on the couch with empty alcohol bottles scattered around him. Tang then revealed that the man who passed out was his dad and he was the one who kept the house tidy. Upon seeing a picture, Lu asked Tang if his father had served in the military, which Tang confirmed. Intrigued, Lu asked Tang to tell him what had happened between the Huangs and his family. Tang took Lu to a construction site where they used to live before being chased out by their landlord. Tang recounted the horrific night when a conflict broke out and some people died, including his mother. He also revealed that his father had been beaten up, resulting in a fractured leg, but nobody came forward and the incident was hushed up with the help of the money provided by the Huangs. As Tang's dad woke up, Lu sent Tang away and approached him, saying, "I would like to spar with you as a token of friendship." Amused, Tang's dad laughed and replied that he couldn't fight with his leg injury. However, Lu didn't back down and taunted him. "Old Sharp 17th squad member, now you can't even stand up straight. Where is your dignity as a former military man?" Shocked by Lu's words, Tang's dad stood up, motivated to see what Lu was capable of. After the fight, Tang entered the room and was surprised to see Lu and his father laughing together. Lu had managed to bring a smile to his father's face, something that hadn't happened in a long time. After Tang left to prepare some food, his father informed him that Lu had served in the military and they had that in common. Curious, Uncle Tang asked Lu if he was a part of the Sharp Knife or Sharp Sword squads, but Lu replied negatively to both. When Uncle Tang discovered that Lu had actually been a part of the master's team, he was amazed. Lu then encouraged Uncle Fang not to give up on himself despite what had happened to Mrs. Tang. Uncle Tang admitted to feeling guilty about the situation and shared that he had tried everything, but nothing seemed to work. Lu gave him a sense of purpose by reminding him that they both had a common enemy, the Huangs. Hearing his part in their revenge plan against the Huangs delighted Uncle Tang, and he felt more motivated and content. Later, Lu was sitting at a bus stop when Mr. Zheng pulled up in his car and asked Lu to get in. In a serious tone, Mr. Zheng requested a favor from Lu. He wanted him to be his daughter's bodyguard. Initially considering it a joke, Lu laughed and reminded Mr. Zheng that he was just a high school student. However, Mr. Zheng then offered Lu $10,000 with the promise that he would be his daughter's bodyguard on her birthday. Unable to resist the money, Lu accepted the offer. After being dropped off, Lu was in a good mood and returned home. Upon arriving, he noticed Miss Junie dressed in traditional Han Chinese clothing and preparing tea. Jokingly, Lu accused her of being in a cosplay, which initially irritated Miss Junie. She became even more upset when Lu didn't like the tea and accused her of being pretentious. Feeling guilty upon seeing Miss Junie's sadness, he decides to make her tea, which she loved. To his surprise, she was quite shocked that a student could make such an amazing tea. Even after having the tea, Miss Junie seemed sad, and Lu asked her if there was something bothering her. Not wanting to talk about it, Lu respected her privacy and began to leave. But Miss Junie stopped him and asked for a favor. "Tomorrow, at this time, can I be your girlfriend, Lian Ming?" Lu was taken aback by her request and told her that he was just a college student. Miss Junie then reassured him that it was just acting for one night. In another scene, while Lu was on his morning run, he heard someone crying for help. He quickly went to investigate and found two men trying to kidnap a baby from a lady. Upon seeing this, Lu jumped across the river like a superhero, leaving the kidnappers in shock. The river was at least 10 meters wide, and they couldn't believe their eyes. The third kidnapper in the van rushed the other two while Lu punched one of the guys. The other guy was frightened by Lu's stare, but the one in the back kept rushing him. Irritated, Lu smacked his knee into the van door, causing it to topple over. Later, a guy in a suit who was a bodyguard was confused and asked an old man who seemed to be his employer if one man could have really done all of that. The old man who witnessed the encounter was in a daze and exclaimed, "It must be him. The only one I know who possesses such great power as him." When asked who he was referring to, he replied, "One that we are so ashamed of meeting." Later in school, Tang approached Lu and asked him what he had sent to his dad. Tang was delighted to report that after Lu's visit, his father had quit drinking and even started working out. Overjoyed, Lu asked Tang to treat him to food, but they were quickly scolded by Miss Junie to keep quiet. Jokingly, Lu winked at Miss Junie, causing her to blush and return to her work. Lu then chatted with Tang about Miss Junie, commenting on how many suitors she must have since she graduated from Zhejiang University. Tang confirmed that she did have many suitors, and that Lu would have to join the crew if he wanted to be one of them. Later that night, Miss Junie threw a box of clothes at Lu and instructed him to wear them. After he changed, Miss Junie told him that he had to pretend to have graduated from Harvard and own a listed company. A blushing Miss Junie then left to change her clothes. When Lu saw her, he was dumbstruck. They then went out and Lu offered to hail a cab, but Miss Junie insisted that he had to drive his car since his annual salary was $1 million and he was a successful entrepreneur. Confused, Lu was shocked to see a brand new car waiting for him. Happy and excited, he even exclaimed that if his teacher asked him to, he would drive a tank, which he actually knew how to do. Once in the car, Miss Junie ordered him to stop calling her Miss Junie and instead call her Meng Meng. As they drove to the location, Lu found out that the man they were going to meet was actually Miss Junie's supposed fiancé, a rich playboy her parents had found for her. After finally arriving at their destination, Lu and Miss Junie enter a yacht. As they walk around the yacht, Lu playfully accuses her of trying to hurt him, stating that her wealthy family is very influential. Miss Junie asks where he heard this from, to which he responds that he heard it from the deli shop owner downstairs. However, Miss Junie tells him that there isn't a deli shop downstairs. Before he can respond, they are interrupted by a golden boy who presents Miss Junie with flowers, but she declines. He then rushes her towards the food, but she again refuses. Lu advises her not to refuse free food, but the golden boy notices Lu and demands to know who he is. He even calls security, but Miss Junie steps in and tells him that Lu is her man. The golden boy is enraged and accuses Lu of stealing his woman, poking him with his finger. In response, Lu snatches his finger and threatens him, saying that he is only leaving him because he respects the golden boy's brother, Ming Feng. The golden boy asks how Lu knows about his brother, to which Lu replies that he heard about it from the deli shop owner downstairs. Lu forces the golden boy to apologize, but they continue to argue until Miss Junie's grandpa interrupts them. Miss Junie's grandpa is surprised to see Lu there, as he was the old man who witnessed the incident with the kidnappers. Miss Junie asks her grandpa if they know each other, and her grandpa acknowledges Lu, stating that they have been searching for him since they got separated. Lu is not pleased with this encounter and tells him that they should have been looking for the wrong soul under the cliff. However, her grandpa denies it, claiming that there are no wrong souls there, and many men were sent but couldn't even find her dead body. Miss Junie is confused by the conversation, but Lu ignores her and tells her that he cannot help her anymore, then starts to leave. However, her grandpa stops Lu and tells him that after he left, people in the Xuanyuan sect lost their faith and they are waiting for him to return. But Lu, not interested in returning, tells him that he is not a god and the earth will still rotate even without him. He just wants to be an ordinary high school student. Even after Lu called out to him, he persisted until the same bodyguard involved in the previous incident appeared before him and smacked him on the shoulder. This only served to further agitate Lu, causing him to throw the bodyguard against the wall. Attempting to fight back, the bodyguard quickly realized that he was no match for Lu's superior strength. Feeling useless, the bodyguard Jiang Tao bowed to Lu's grandfather, who was known to be the #1 fighter in all rankings. Lu, now irritated and frustrated from the encounter, sought solace in a bar where he had a flashback of standing at the edge of a cliff with someone he failed to save from falling. As Lu was lost in his thoughts, a woman accidentally spilled her drink on him, apologizing profusely for her mistake. Enamored by her beauty, Lu flirted with her, causing her to climb onto his lap and hide between his legs. She begged him to protect her as a group of gangsters appeared to be searching for her. After they left, Lu warned the woman that he couldn't promise not to have a reaction to her proximity, but urged her to leave quickly. However, before she could escape, the gangsters caught up to her and demanded to know the whereabouts of some footage. Desperate for help, the woman turned to Lu, but as the gangsters passed by, and one of them warned Lu to keep his mouth shut to avoid provoking the Black Fox gang. Growing increasingly frustrated with hearing about the Black Fox Gang yet again, Lu grabs one of the members by the head and repeatedly slams it against the table while shouting, "Black Fox Gang. No matter where I go, it's always the Black Fox Gang. Are you all related or something? Always causing trouble together." One-Eyed Dragon, one of the four big shots of the gang, and the man with the eye patch inquires which gang Lu is from and asks for his name. Being his usual self, Lu introduces himself as Black Police Cat while making finger guns. One-Eyed Dragon, who also happens to be the bar owner, orders his men to throw Lu out, but because his business relies on reputation, he invites Lu to negotiate if he wants to file a complaint. However, Lu, who is somewhat intoxicated, declines the offer and instead requests a hotel room with the beautiful lady. One-Eyed Dragon explains that the lady possesses their secrets and cannot leave until she hands over the tape. Lu understands the situation and pretends to search for the tape, claiming that he has it. As the men approach him to search him, Lu stares them down, causing them to halt in their tracks. He then boldly declares, "You may act tough, but all you can do is search a woman. Trash is trash. Even with a dominant gang name, you can't hide the fact that you're weaklings." Lu doesn't back down and challenges them to come and fight him if they're not cowards, without ever correcting himself or showing any fear. The One-Eyed Dragon, now aware that Lu was not just a simple drunkard, threatened him with his dart-throwing skills. He challenged Lu to avoid even one of his darts, promising to let Lu and the girl go if he succeeded. Despite the lady's protests that she had the tape and Lu had nothing to do with it, the One-Eyed Dragon refused to listen. In the silent bar, Lu continued to sing, irritated by the One-Eyed Dragon's cockiness. He tried to scare Lu by revealing that he blinded one of his eyes to obtain his dart-throwing skill, and boasted that his darts were faster than bullets. Despite the threats, Lu remained ignorant and resumed drinking. Seizing the opportunity of Lu's distraction, the One-Eyed Dragon threw multiple darts at him. But much to everyone's surprise, Lu was able to catch every dart in his beer cup. The beautiful lady rushed over to Lu, impressed by his skill. Lu declared that he had caught the darts and they could leave together. However, the One-Eyed Dragon's men surrounded them, and he offered Lu the ultimatum to leave but leave the girl behind. Lu came to a realization that since the One-Eyed Dragon was missing one eye, it would make sense that the other one was also blind. So he threw the darts out of the cup, hitting the One-Eyed Dragon in the remaining eye. The One-Eyed Dragon howled in pain and ordered his men to call for backup. As the men circled around them, the lady begged Lu to leave, but he was determined to fight. He pulled down his tie and exclaimed, "Are you kidding me? I've been waiting for this moment all night." Excited to fight, Lu effortlessly beat the men, as if it were just a game. As Lu saw all 30 of his opponents lying on the ground, defeated by a single man, the One-Eyed Dragon screamed at him, warning that he would eventually lose one day. He admitted that he was the weakest among the four big shots of the Black Fox Gang, and that the remaining 3 would come after Lu. Despite the threat, Lu calmly prepared to leave. Before departing, he made sure to tell the lady his name, one she would never forget. As Lu walked away, the lady followed him, confused about why she was still following him. When he asked, the lady introduced herself as Sen Jingshu, an intern journalist. Realizing that she had been recording the Black Fox Gang, Lu advised her to leave town. Meanwhile, the One-Eyed Dragon stood before his boss, whose face was concealed by a cat-like mask. The boss expressed his disappointment in the One-Eyed Dragon and held him responsible for the damaged reputation of the gang. Nervously, the One-Eyed Dragon mentioned Lu, noting that he was not like other men. He praised Lu's abilities and compared him to the kung fu masters in novels. Just then, a man with a hood over his eyes entered the room. The boss addressed him as White Shark, and he provided information about Lu and the lady. Upon hearing this, Tiger, who stood beside the boss, requested some men to fight Lu as he was the one who had defeated Ma Zhen. White Tiger mocked Lu, claiming that his brother had provoked Lu and ended up being beaten so badly that he urinated on himself. Insulted by White Tiger's comments, Tiger pushed him towards a fight, but the boss intervened, insisting that Lu was not a significant threat and that Tiger should handle the matter. In another scene, Lu returned to his apartment where he saw Miss Junie fast asleep on the couch, still wearing her party dress. He thought it must be chilly for Miss Junie, so he began to remove his jacket to place it over her shoulders. But just as he was about to do so, Miss Junie's eyes snapped open, and she let out a piercing scream, mistaking his kind gesture for perversion. She swiftly swung her fist and hit him square in the face. Lu was taken aback and apologetic, but Miss Junie quickly applied a cold cloth to his bruised face. Lu tried to change the subject and asked about her grandfather, who he knew, hoping to ease the tension. When Miss Junie asked if he was really just an ordinary student, he replied no and told her to believe whatever her grandfather said. In the next scene, Lu was sprinting towards Mr. Zheng's residence to fulfill his promise to protect his daughter. The butler, who had a dislike for Lu, greeted him and informed him that Mr. Zheng was not in the house. Soon after, Mr. Bao, one of Wei Wei's suitors, entered the room, and the butler seemed quite fond of him. Just as they were conversing, Wei Wei entered the room, thrilled to see Luo. Mr. Bao interrupted their reunion to present Wei Wei with the grand piano she had always longed to play, while Luo offered her a humble soy milk and fried bread stick that he had picked up on his way. Much to the shock of both the butler and Mr. Bao, Wei Wei was far more grateful for the simple gift that Luo had given her, barely acknowledging the piano. Upstairs in her room, Wei Wei is happily munching on some street food that Luo bought for her. Despite not being a big fan of street food, she finds herself enjoying it a lot more than she expected. Wei Wei is excited because it's her birthday, and she's hoping to go shopping later. Meanwhile, downstairs in the living room, Luo is getting grilled by Mr. Bao, who seems to be very jealous of him. Mr. Bao asks if Luo knows who he is, taunting him that he might not know the elite class. Luo is confused and asks who he is. The butler steps in and starts gushing about Mr. Bao's musical talent, telling Luo that he's known as the Piano's Man. The butler even suggests that maybe Mr. Bao should change his name to something more fitting. Just then, a beautiful girl named Boo Boo walks in, and the butler gets flustered. He starts rambling about how she hasn't seen Wai Wai in 10 years and rushes upstairs to alert her about her guest. Mr. Bao, on the other hand, decides to be rude and comments on Boo Boo's fashion sense, saying she looks like a tomboy. Boo Boo is not pleased and almost hits him with a lightning-fast punch. Luo is impressed by Boo Boo's speed, but also a little nervous when she looks at him. He's not sure what to make of her. Wei Wei finally comes downstairs, and she's excited to see her old elementary school friend after all these years. Boo Boo explains that she's been practicing boxing and would like to be Wei Wei's bodyguard for the day. Wei Wei is thrilled because her dad doesn't allow her to go shopping alone, but now with Boo Boo by her side, she can finally hit them all. Wei Wei invites Luo to join them, but Boo Boo can only carry one person on her bike. So, Luo volunteers to ride in the car with Mr. Bao. Wei Wei and Boo Boo are out shopping, and they are having a blast trying on different outfits and admiring each other's fashion sense. Meanwhile, Mr. Bao and Luo are trailing behind them, looking bored and uninterested. Suddenly, Wei Wei stops and declares that she is hungry, so they all decide to take a break and grab a bite to eat at a nearby restaurant. As they sit down to eat, Boo Boo starts flirting with Wei Wei, which irritates Mr. Bao. He takes offense at Boo Boo's comment about being more trustworthy than stinky men, and Luo steps in to calm him down. He advises Mr. Bao to take action if he wants to impress Wei Wei and reminds him that Boo Boo is just trying to outshine them in front of Wei Wei. Luo suggests that Mr. Bao should pay for the meal, but that's not enough for Mr. Bao. He suddenly exclaims that he wants to buy the steakhouse for Wei Wei, but she refuses. As they are eating, a waiter walks past Wei Wei and picks up a knife as if to hurt her. Boo Boo senses that something is wrong and discreetly throws her knife at the waiter, but just as it's about to hit him, another knife deflects it. Boo Boo watches in stunned silence as the waiter hands the knife to another customer, realizing that it was Luo who predicted and stopped her attack. He warns her about making wrong judgments that could harm innocent people. Wei Wei interrupts and tells them that Luo saved her. He reveals that he is also her bodyguard for the night. They decide to go to a theme park next, where they ride the roller coaster and visit a haunted house. Wei Wei is thrilled with how her day is turning out, and when they stop the washroom, Boo Boo follows her inside. She receives a text from an anonymous sender telling her to assassinate the target, which is Wei Wei, or they won't get paid. Boo Boo panics and throws her phone in the dustbin, but then she hears a girl screaming about a pervert in the bathroom. Boo Boo accuses Luo of peeping and causing the disturbance. Wei Wei's heart was racing as Luo informed her that he was her bodyguard and therefore had to follow her everywhere. She tried to play it cool, but inside she was terrified that he had somehow discovered her true identity. Was he a super spy, a ninja, or just a really good detective? She couldn't tell. Back at home, the butler greeted Wei Wei with the news that her parents had returned. Wei Wei bid farewell to Luo and Boo Boo and went to change her clothes. As she emerged from her room smiling and happy, Luo made a comment that made her heart sink. "It's so pitiful, what a shame," he said. Boo Boo asked him what he meant, and Luo replied that Wei Wei's precious smile could be destroyed at any moment, and the shame was that her best friend Boo Boo was the one who would do it. Wei Wei was shocked and frightened to hear that Luo knew her plan. Was he going to stop her? She prepared to fight, but Luo just joked and asked if her employer was giving her more money. Wei Wei pretended not to understand, but Luo kept pushing, saying that if Boo Boo's employer was offering more money, he might switch sides. Suddenly, they heard Wei Wei scream. Boo Boo sprang into action, trying to climb through the balcony, while Luo jumped effortlessly onto it. But when they got to Wei Wei's room, they found her consoling her cat, who tripped over her. Wei Wei was furious and yelled at them to get out. Luo and Boo Boo sat in the living room, spitting comments at each other, when the butler greeted a very handsome man named Hugh. He was the son of Mr. Chu's group, one of the richest men in the world, and he was interested in YY. Q asked everyone to leave and go to a hotel where he had prepared a feast. Boo was nervous because Q's bodyguards seemed very tough, but Lu refused to leave, insisting that he had come for the birthday party and hadn't eaten cake yet. Curious about Lu, Q asked Mr. Bao about him. Q then told Lu that he would be provided with everything in the hotel, but for YY's cake, he would have to enjoy it alone. "Now that's just coal," said Lu as he followed them out of the house. The next scene opens with Lu being approached by a bodyguard who puts his hand on Lu's shoulder and threatens him. But Lu is quick to react, putting his foot against the bodyguard's head and smashing it to the ground. He boasts that he's never lost a fight and invites anyone to take him on. Q, a man who just wants to give a gift to YY, interrupts and asks Lu why he was bothering him. Lu suggests that Q ask YY for her opinion first, which seems like a strange response. Just as Q is about to reveal his gift for YY, Miss Zhang and YY herself show up. Q proudly presents a rare snow fairy flower to YY, claiming that it only grows once every 70 years and is said to make the eater young forever. YY is grateful but hesitant to accept the gift. However, Q assures her that it's safe. But then Lu interrupts, saying that the flower is not valuable at all and debunking the myths surrounding it. Q is embarrassed and feels betrayed by Lu, who he thought was his friend. He now feels threatened by Lu and asks for a fight over YY, since he thinks Lu is also interested in her. He suggests that whoever loses must leave, but Lu refuses to leave even though Q is clearly upset. Frustrated, Q moves over to the piano that Mr. Bao bought and tells everyone that he has another gift for YY, a piece of music he composed named Breeze. Q begins to play the beautiful melody and everyone is entranced by it. Even Lu seems to appreciate the music, but then Q challenges Lu to a musical challenge. If Lu can play the same melody backwards, he'll win. Lu agrees to the challenge and everyone is surprised. But as Lu starts to play, everyone around him says he's not playing it right and that his tuning sounds weird. Only Q seems nervous because he knows that Lu is playing the melody perfectly backwards, even though he's only heard it once. Mesmerized by Lu's incredible talent, the room suddenly plunged into darkness. YY let out a startled scream, but her fear was quickly replaced by joy as a cake appeared before her with lit candles. The group broke out into a cheerful rendition of Happy Birthday for YY. Meanwhile, Boo sneaked up behind the waiter holding the cake and drew a dagger to stop him from using his sword. The accomplice was taken aback by her betrayal and hesitated to intervene, realizing that Boo had double-crossed him. He drew his own sword to strike Boo, but she stopped him in his tracks with her dagger. The clash of their weapons was drowned out by Lu's beautiful music. Boo ordered the waiter to follow her as they disappeared into an empty room to fight. Though YY was enjoying her birthday celebration, she grew concerned about Boo's absence. Lu suggested that she might be upstairs and went to search for her. Boo and the waiter continued their fight, but the waiter soon gained the upper hand and broke Boo's dagger. He raised his sword to strike her, but Lu intervened without hesitation. Unaware of the danger, he told Boo that YY was looking for her. Surprised to learn that Boo had no intention of hurting YY, Lu demanded an explanation. Boo confessed that she couldn't harm her friend, and the waiter arrogantly declared that YY would die regardless of their actions. Lu was incensed by the waiter's arrogance and quickly disarmed him with a single swift move, pushing his sword through him. Suddenly, the police burst into the room, and the captain immediately ordered Lu's arrest on suspicion of hurting her. Mr. Zhang, however, intervened and explained that Lu was hired as his daughter's bodyguard. The captain ignored this and demanded that Lu be processed according to the procedures. Lu protested, declaring that he was the one who had saved YY and couldn't possibly hurt her. He demanded to see the captain's superior Peng Wei before he would agree to be taken in for questioning, mocking the police for their unreasonable behavior. The captain grew furious at Lu's defiance and ordered his men to take out their weapon, but Peng Wei arrived just in time to stop the confrontation. The captain was eager to have Lu arrested, but Peng Wei asked him if he had any leads on YY's kidnapper. The captain admitted that he didn't, and Peng Wei ordered him to focus on finding clues about the kidnapping. Boo was amazed at how easily Lu had gotten away after hurting him and asked him who he really was. He simply replied that he was just an ordinary student. Boo then decides that it would be better if she left and leaves YY in Lu's care. She also threatens him that if anything happens to YY, she would kick his bare bottom. In the other scene, at Yangsheng newspaper agent Sen Jingshu, the journalist Lu once saved in the bar, throws a piece of paper angrily at the chief editor's desk. She is furious because they didn't publish the evil deeds of Black Fox Gang in the headlines as they promised. The chief editor gives her first month and the next 3 months' salary and tells her she cannot work here anymore. He explains that the president doesn't think she's fit for here. He tells her to forget everything and move on. Appalled by what she heard, she takes the envelope of money and throws it in the chief editor's face. She angrily storms out and goes to the orphanage but glooms because she doesn't have enough money to buy clothes for her brothers and sisters. She starts to lose hope, but she slaps her cheeks and pulls herself up with determination that she will give them a good winter. While in the other scene, Lu is having a meal with Wai Wei and her parents. Mrs. Zhang is very interested in Lu and asks him questions. While responding to her questions, Lu says that he doesn't have parents. It's just him alone. Mr. Zhang asks Lu for one more favor, and seeing the money that could help him, he agrees, but just for a month. While leaving, Lu stumbles upon Wai Wei playing and singing on a piano. He is enticed by her beauty, so he stops and listens for a while. Startled to see Lu, Wai Wei thanks him for saving her twice, once when she was kidnapped and second time yesterday. He explains that she doesn't have to since the first time was circumstantial, while in the second one, her father employed him. He then tells her flirtatiously he is an employee for one more month, so he'll be everywhere she goes. They are interrupted by Mr. Zheng, who is delighted to see his daughter get along with Lu. While chatting, Wai Wei suddenly starts to feel dizzy and falls down when Lu catches her. Panicking, Lu asks Mr. Zheng what is wrong. Mr. Zheng then explains that it is Wai Wei's illness that she has had since she was a child. Mr. Zheng had been struggling with his daughter Wai Wei's mysterious illness for months. Despite visiting countless doctors, none of them could offer a solution. That was until he met Lu, who offered to take a look at Wai Wei himself. Mr. Zheng was hesitant but desperate for a solution. He allowed Lu to examine his daughter. To his surprise, Lu was able to diagnose Wai Wei's problem and recommended Chinese medicine to regulate her condition. Mr. Zheng couldn't believe it. After all those failed doctor visits, it seemed like Lu had been the answer all along. Excited by the prospect of earning $10,000 per day, Lu decided to pay a visit to Sister Lan. However, he was met with the shocking news that her restaurant had been destroyed. It turned out that her husband had taken money from some shady loan sharks and was unable to repay them, so they came to collect their debt. Despite his desire to help, Lu decided to leave it to Sister Lan to handle her family affairs. As Lu returned to his apartment, he was suddenly startled by a strange noise. Rushing to investigate, he found Miss Junie unconscious on the floor. Though there seemed to be nothing wrong with her, Lu still decided to put her to bed. As he carried her, she suddenly woke up and in a panic, slapped him in the face. Lu apologized for startling her, explaining that he was used to such incidents by now. Miss Junie proceeded to inform him about the upcoming practice exam that she would be taking the following day. She kindly offered to assist him, but he declined her offer, insisting that he did not need any help. Later on in the classroom, Tang asked Lu if he was feeling nervous about the exam, to which Lu simply advised him to remain calm. Once the exam had finished, Tang invited Lu to hang out, but Lu declined, citing that he had work to do. Wai Wei and her sister then called out to Lu, and the three of them left, causing envy among their classmates due to Lu's close relationship with the campus and class queens. As Lu accompanied Wai Wei home, she suggested that he come inside and that the driver would drop him off later. However, Lu politely refused, mentioning that he had some tasks to complete. While jogging to keep his physical exercise routine, a girl suddenly passed him by. He was taken aback by her impressive speed and breathtaking beauty. Assuming that she was trying to compete with him, Lu began to run faster. The girl slowed down, which confused him. Just as he was about to fall, the girl called out his name, shocking him even more. He asked her if they had met before, and she replied by asking if he genuinely did not know who she was. As they continued their conversation, they were suddenly interrupted by a group of thugs who identified themselves as the Long River Knights. The thugs made it clear that they were not interested in taking their lives, but rather their money and bodies. Lu taunted them, mocking their name, but the girl intervened, warning him about the gang's nefarious activities. She explained that they had been committing robberies and even rape. Lu expressed his disgust and jokingly begged them to be gentle with him, causing one of the thugs to become angry and rush towards him, threatening him with physical harm. Lu prepared to defend himself, but before he could do anything, the girl effortlessly kicked the thug in the face. Lu was impressed by her skills as she ordered the thugs to surrender. One of the thugs assumed that she was a martial artist from Mingjin Grade 3, but she corrected him, stating that he was mistaken. She then proceeded to defeat the thugs, leaving them badly beaten. She urged Lu to call the police, and when they arrived, they commended them for their bravery. Impressed by the girl, Lu asks her name, to which she replies, "You'll know my name if you ask anyone in school." After Lu asked her some questions, she jogged away without answering any more. The next day at school, Tang approached Lu and exclaimed that Lu was now his idol. Confused, Lu asked why, and Tang replied that Lu had ranked the highest in the exam and was going to be one of the 5 masters of Bohemia High School. Lu didn't know what that meant, so Tang explained that there were 8 campus queens and 4 masters. The masters were the dream boys for the girls in the school, and Lu could be one of them. Intrigued, Lu asked if any of the campus queens were good at fighting, and Tang pointed out Liu Mei. But Lu wasn't satisfied and asked if there were any others. Before Tang could answer, class started. The teacher congratulated Lu on his ranking and the class cheered for him. Everyone talked about how he would be popular now and surrounded by girls. After class, Lu asked Wei Wei if she wanted to go home, but Tang stopped him and asked to talk to him in private. Tang gave Lu a letter inviting him to meet Song Dang at the gazebo of the Lotus Pool. Song Dang was one of the campus queens and was considered the most sexy. Wei Wei was disappointed, and Liu Mai warned her that if she didn't do something soon, someone could take Lu away from her. Tang was drooling over the fact that a campus queen had sent a letter to Lu. However, Lu wasn't interested and gave the letter back to Tang, saying he had work to do. As Lu and Wei Wei were leaving, they were surrounded by a group of angry boys who wanted to teach Lu a lesson. Lu moved to protect Wei Wei and told her not to worry, that he would handle it. Ready to fight anyone, Lu was confused because he could tell from their expressions that they knew they might get beaten up by him. It wasn't until he looked over and saw Director Huang that he realized their plan was to get him in trouble. Lu told them he could send them to the hospital without even moving. The boys, angered by his arrogance, started to move towards him for a fight, when suddenly, Miss Junie approaches them. She questions why Lu hasn't been attending his after-school duties as instructed, asking why he hasn't been looking after the new student. The boys are caught off guard and try to come up with an excuse, but Miss Junie isn't having it. She scolds them for their behavior towards the new student, warning them not to bully him. The boys try to brush it off as a joke, but Miss Junie reminds Lu that she cannot protect him from bullies all the time. Meanwhile, in another part of the school, Gaiman, one of the four masters and Lu's recent adversary, is venting his frustration. He punches a fellow student who failed to keep watch for teachers. The student suggests taking revenge on Tang instead, as he is always with Lu. Gangman agrees and reveals his jealousy towards Lu, who he sees spending time with two beautiful girls every day. Back at Tang's house, the trio is enjoying some drinks with Uncle Tang when he shares some alarming news. He reveals that Zhang Taihong, a known criminal, is involved with the Black Fox gang in child trafficking. Furious at the revelation, Lu slams his fist on the table and agrees to keep an eye on the gang's activities. Concerned about Tang's absence, they realize he hasn't returned with the drinks and start to worry about his safety. Meanwhile, Tang is stopped by the bullies, who are angry at him for going against them. They threaten him with a brick and vow to teach him a lesson. The tough guy viciously struck Tang in the face with a brick, causing him to fall to the ground in agony. While lying there, Tang desperately called out for Lu's help, but the tough guys cruelly taunted him to speak louder. Fed up with the guys mocking, Tang seized a bottle and smashed it against the tough guy's head in self-defense. Despite feeling proud of his newfound courage, Tang was no match for the tough guy's strength and found himself being pummeled mercilessly. As a result of the severe beating, Tang was rushed to the hospital and placed on a stretcher. However, the doctors were hesitant to treat him due to his inability to pay for medical expenses. One doctor, LV, suggested that it would be better to avoid treating Tang altogether to prevent a financial loss. But another doctor, Dr. Zhang, overheard LV's comment and insisted on treating Tang, regardless of the cost. Meanwhile, back at Tang's house, his worried father received a phone call informing him of his son's hospitalization. Uncle Tang immediately rushed Lu to the hospital to check on his son's condition. At the hospital, the director scolded Dr. Zhang for not following protocol and wasting valuable medical resources on someone who couldn't afford to pay for them. However, Dr. Zhang passionately argued that saving lives should always take priority over financial concerns. When Dr. Zhang offers to have her salary withheld to cover Tang's medical expenses, the director callously informs her that she has no salary left and suggests that she resign. LV chimes in with a comment about money not growing on trees, but is quickly interrupted by a bundle of money hitting him in the face. Everyone turns to see Lu, who demands that they save Tang and threatens them with consequences if they don't. Uncle Tang pleads with them to save his son, but the director dismisses him, claiming that the money they have is not enough. The director then calls for security, but Lu refuses to back down and instead calls on a powerful ally, Mr. Zhang, for help. When the hospital staff realizes that Lu knows Mr. Zhang, they quickly change their tune and agree to help Tang. The director even instructs LV to do everything he can to assist Tang, acting as if they had never been greedy for money just moments before. After Tang is stabilized, Dr. Zhang takes Uncle Tang and Lu to see him and reassures them that he is doing well. Uncle Tang rushes to his son's side and asks him who hurt him, to which Tang proudly replies that it was Liu Kain-kun and his gang, and that he was proud of himself for fighting back like a man. Lu is incensed by the news and leaves with a determination to make Liu Kain-kun and his men pay for what they did to Tang. However, he is stopped by Dr. Zhang, who urges him to consider the consequences of his actions and not to take matters into his own hands. But he just asked her to take care of his classmate. He swiftly strides out the door with a baseball bat. Meanwhile, LV hears the commotion and decides to investigate the student he knows at Wahinia High School. Upon completing his investigation, LV rushes to the director to report his findings on Lu. The director asks LV to confirm if Lu is truly a poor student, to which LV accuses Lu of lying once again. The director urges LV to get back the money they spent, even if Lu is not poor. In the ward, a nurse enters to give Tang an injection, but LV intervenes and stops her. He informs Uncle Tang that the money they brought has already been used up and that he must pay in advance for further treatment. Uncle Tang searches his pockets and only finds $500. He promises to borrow the rest as soon as possible, but LV laughs and informs him that the ward alone costs $2,000 a day and the injection costs over $300. Despite Uncle Tang's pleas to wait a little bit, LV refuses to budge. The nurse intervenes and explains that Tang is in critical condition and cannot be discharged from the hospital. As the director entered the ward, he commented that the hospital doesn't care about the patient's life and ordered security to remove Tang and his father. However, Jiang intervened and claimed that Tang was her patient and she had the final say. The director, upset by her defiance, reminded her that he was her boss and threatened to have her leave with him. As the security attempted to remove Tang, manager Su arrived and ordered them to stop. The director's demeanor changed drastically upon seeing manager Su, and he questioned why he hadn't been notified of his arrival. The director lied about the commotion, blaming it on troublemakers and claiming he was following hospital rules. Manager Su refused to provide the director with tea and requested to speak with Jiang. The director was thrilled, assuming Su would fire her. However, Jiang spoke up and offered to leave if necessary, but requested that the hospital care for their patients and give them adequate time to arrange for payment before being discharged. Other doctors chimed in, sharing stories of patients being chased away for delayed payment. The director attempted to silence them, but manager Su was not pleased and slapped the director. Su then revealed that he was sent by Mr. Zheng to provide payment for Tang on behalf of Lu. The director and LV were visibly frightened by this revelation. They huddle into a corner as Su threatens to investigate them for harming the hospital's reputation. Jiang turns to Uncle Tang and asks who Lu really is, to which he replies, just an ordinary student. Meanwhile, at a barbecue shop, the bullies who beat up Tang are bragging about their actions when a bat suddenly comes flying down onto their table. To their horror, Lu stands before them, having beaten them with his bat and tied them up. He accuses them of working with Liao and demands to know how many men they were with. The bullies refuse to betray their brothers, so Lu smashes a block of wall with such force that it shatters into pieces. One of the bullies eventually cracks and confesses that there were 10 of them, and that they are playing in the abandoned Alucat factory. Satisfied with the information, Lu leaves them and heads to the factory. Upon arriving, he discovers that they were waiting for him, and the Huang boss reveals that there are not 10, but 100 men ready to fight him. Despite being surrounded by so many men, Lu is not afraid, but rather prepared to fight them. The Huang boss orders his men to beat Lu up, and whoever can do so will be given the position of deputy leader. Upon hearing the news, they all rush towards Lu, who was ready to fight them with a bat. With heroic motions and incredible fighting skills, Lu beat those men to a pulp. However, Huang, the boss, refused to admit defeat and pulled out a dagger, threatening to hurt Lu with one slash. The remaining men also took out knives, but Lu was determined to seek revenge for his friend and didn't care about being hurt. As the men approached him with knives, they were surprised to see Lu disappear. Confused and frightened, they searched for him but couldn't find him. For a moment, they thought he was a ghost. Suddenly, they heard their men getting hurt and boss Huang became scared and started to leave. However, as soon as he turned around, he saw Lu standing right behind him. Lu asked him who else had hurt his friend, but the boss ignored him and called out his men. However, Lu told him to look back, and he was shocked and terrified to see his men on the ground in pain. Huang, now terrified of Lu, confessed that Gangman had ordered him to hurt Lu's friend and revealed that Gangman was likely in the classroom. After punching Huang in the face, Lu warned him that it was his last chance, and if he tried something like this again, Lu would hurt him. In the middle of a classroom lecture, Gangman is called upon to answer a question posed by the teacher. Gangman confidently answers, impressing both the teacher and his classmates. The teacher commends Gangman on his excellent answer, and the class continues with the lecture. Suddenly, the door to the classroom swings open with a loud bang. Everyone turns to see Lu standing in the doorway, looking completely at ease. The teacher is surprised to see a student interrupting his class in such a manner and comments on the poor quality of the door. Lu asks for Gangman, and the teacher reluctantly allows Gangman to leave for the washroom. As he exits, several other students raise their hands, asking to go to the washroom as well. The teacher sighs and allows them to go one by one. On the rooftop, Lu confronts Gangman, accompanied by several of his men. Gangman looks nervous but tries to put on a brave face. Lu demands an apology from Gangman, but instead of apologizing, Gangman insults Lu and tells him that he is not afraid of him. One of Gangman's men cautiously whispers to him that Huang hasn't returned yet and warns him that Lu is known to be a tough man. But Gangman doesn't listen and instead punches the man, telling him not to compare him to that kind of waste. Lu grows bored of the commotion and asks Gangman if they are going to fight or not. Gangman rushes towards Lu, throwing a flurry of punches, but Lu effortlessly dodges each one with grace and ease. As he dances around, dodging each punch, Lu advises Gangman about the benefits of traditional Chinese medicine. But as he turns his back to Gangman, Gangman seizes the opportunity and attempts to land a punch on him. However, before he can strike, Gangman's body suddenly freezes and he falls to the ground, completely paralyzed. The other men surrounding Gangman plead with him to get up, but he is unable to move his body. Lying on the ground, Gangman desperately asks Lu what he has done to him, to which Lu calmly responds that he has clicked on Gangman's acupuncture points, rendering him disabled for at least half a year. Despite his current condition, Gangman still fails to comprehend that Lu is much stronger than him and foolishly threatens him. But Lu is unfazed and grabs Gangman's hair, warning him to appreciate Lu's mercy. If they had been on the battlefield, Lu would have torn Gangman to pieces. Despite the pleas of Gangman's men to spare them, Lu remains blinded by his desire for revenge and orders his men to beat them, but they are all too terrified to comply after seeing what happened to their leader. Suddenly, Miss Juna rushes to the rooftop and warns Lu that he could get into serious trouble, possibly even going to jail. However, Lu remains stubborn and walks away, refusing to listen to reason. As he leaves, a girl he met while jogging approaches him and introduces herself as Qian Yilin, the second best student in their class. But Lu doesn't seem interested and brushes her off, heading straight to Sister Li's restaurant. Sister Li senses that something is wrong and asks Lu about it, but he refuses to share any details and simply hands over the rent. Meanwhile, in the main office of the school, the principal is outraged when he hears about the incident on the rooftop. Director Huang suggests expelling Lu, but Miss Junie speaks up in defense of him, reminding the principal that he is an excellent student and that an investigation should be conducted before making any decisions. However, Huang interrupts and insists that Lu has caused too much trouble in the school and should be expelled. However, Miss Junie remained unconvinced and ignored him. Instead, she confronted the principal directly and expressed her concerns. She pointed out that since Lu was such a genius, other schools would surely want him, so they should think carefully before making any decisions. The principal agreed to reconsider his decision and promised to gather feedback from the students' parents before making a final call. Later that evening, Wei Wei received a phone call in her bedroom. After hanging up, she rushed to her father and broke down in tears. When Mrs. Zhang asked her what was wrong, she replied that it was about Lu. In the following scene, Lu visited Tang in the hospital. As he entered the room, he was greeted warmly by Tang and Uncle Tang. Uncle Tang appeared relieved as he saw the excellent care that Dr. Zhang had provided for his son. Lu nonchalantly approached him and informed him that he had taken revenge on the bullies who had caused his son harm. After advising Uncle Tang to rest for a while, Lu requested him to come outside for a quick chat. Once outside, Lu expressed his urgency, explaining that he had brought 50 people to the hospital and they needed to accelerate their plan regarding Zhang Teihang. Uncle Tang informed Lu that the transaction for the goods was scheduled for the next day, but he was unaware of the location. Lu inquired about where they could begin their search, to which Uncle Tang suggested that they start with Zhang Kang, the eldest son of Zhang Teihang, who frequented the night bar. He advised Lu that if he wanted to find any clues, he would need to meet Kang. As Uncle Tang bid Lu farewell, he dramatically swished his hands, indicating his support. That night, Lu waited patiently at the night bar for Kang to appear. Upon confirming the identity of the man who had entered as Kang, Lu decided to follow him. Lu followed Kang's car for some time, but he became confused when the car circled the city multiple times. Eventually, Kang accelerated his car and arrived at a lavish mansion. Kang confirmed to a man that he hadn't been followed, and they entered the mansion together. Kang greeted a man he referred to as the Soul Cultivation Guardian, who then asked Kang to show him the goods. Kang clapped his hands, and a door slowly opened, revealing about 51 crying and weeping children inside. As the Soul Cultivation Guardian examined the children, Lu entered the room casually, surprising Kang. Kang aimed his gun at Lu and demanded to know who he was. Lu calmly replied that he was just an ordinary person. Kang ordered his men to capture Lu and opened fire, but Lu dodged every bullet with ease, thoroughly enjoying the fight. Meanwhile, the Soul Cultivation Guardian was amazed by Lu's efficiency in battle and asked Kang who he was. Kang replied that Lu was a high school student and challenged the Guardian to defeat him, promising to give him the goods at half the price if he succeeded. Guardian, driven by his greed, wanting the goods for free, drew his sword and cut Chang in half. He then thanked Lu for cleaning up and offered to spare his life if Lu worshipped him as a teacher. Lu replied that he would only worship him if he could withstand one punch. With one swift blow, Lu punched the Guardian so hard that he realized Lu was no ordinary person. However, the Guardian was also quite powerful and boasted that he could move very quickly. As he attempted to attack Lu, he quickly turned around and smashed the guardian's face into the ground. The terrified children watched as Lu informed them that the police would be arriving soon to take them home. Meanwhile, the man in the cat mask was furious that Lu had foiled his plans yet again. He ordered his men to hurt Lu within 7 days, threatening them with death if they failed. Later, Lu was seen sleeping on the couch when Miss Junie threw a pillow at him. He told her that he would not annoy her anymore because this would be the last time she would see him. Annoyed, Miss Junie told him to go to school, to which he asked if he was allowed to. In a flashback scene, many parents rushed into the principal's office, blaming Lu for their aggression. Director Huang accused Lu, and the principal instructed Miss Junie to handle the situation. As the parents entered the room, Miss Junie apologized to them and asked them to give Lu a chance to make amends. However, the parents didn't understand her and simply wanted to ask for a leave. They'd all tell the same story about their child accidentally breaking their leg and requesting leave. The principal, not fully understanding the situation, assigns Ms. Junie to handle the formalities and directs Director Huang to assist students with making up their missed lessons at the hospital. Presently, Ms. Junie complains about having to spend the whole night managing the paperwork, while Lu is pleased to hear that he can return to school and heads off to take a shower. The following morning, while on his morning run, Lu is passed by Qian, and they stop to chat. Lu inquires about martial arts and learns about a system of 9 grades. He then asks about camo and is told about a person with the power of 9 dings, equivalent to 4,500 eggs, being associated with the group. Realizing the arrogance of the Guardian, he bids Qian farewell and continues his run. In the next scene, the captain responsible for all of Lu's cases is standing in front of Qian's older brother, who questions him about a child trafficking case. The captain tries to deflect the questions in a way that does not implicate Lu, but the man eventually orders him to tell the truth. After being threatened, the captain reveals that it was Lu Feng. During the car ride, Qian asks her brother for time to get to know Lu. Meanwhile, at school, everyone welcomes Lu back, and Wai Wei, who may have cried all night, is overjoyed to see him. Lu thanks her for her help and rushes to the door when there's a knock. It's King, who wants to speak with him. While they are alone, King starts asking Lu questions about how he knows about camo, given that he was discussing it earlier in the morning. Lu becomes nervous, thinking that he must be in trouble, and tries to distract Xing before rushing out the door. Later, with Uncle Tang in the hospital, he congratulates Lu on his outstanding work. Suddenly, a nurse calls for Tang's family and informs them that his condition has suddenly deteriorated. They follow the nurse and meet Dr. Zhang, who tells them that Tang had a severe headache and has arranged a CT examination for him. Uncle Tang asks if it is a serious issue, to which she replies that Tang's brain is severely injured and a nerve in his head has become congested with blood. If it is not cleared, his health will continue to decline. Uncle Tang is unable to bear such news about his son, takes support from a wall, and begs the doctor to help him. She tells him that she will do her best, and the only way to save him is through a craniotomy, which is a 50% success rate. Uncle Tang is devastated to hear this news and sobs, thinking that he will lose his child. That wraps up this part, but there's more to come. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next exciting chapter.